What's up, everyone? I'm Brian.
And I'm Stephanie.
And you guys are watching Brian from Orlando. Today's video, we're actually headed right now. We're parked at Universal Studios because it is Friday, the 9th, 18th. I don't know the date, but it is the team member preview and the premiere pass holder preview for the two new haunted houses. Am I talking? I'm not ready for talking today, so there's not going to be much of that. But
it's a little early for haunted houses.
It is early. It is right now
prepared.
10:45. And yeah, like it's bright out. We're going to go into haunted houses. So usually that's a nighttime thing. But we're here. We're going to go on in. We're going to see how these houses are. We're going to give you guys our little feedback on it, our rating, maybe some spoilers in there. So we'll go ahead and give a spoiler warning before we explain anything else. If you guys don't want to see it, if you're going to go in person, just skip forward in the video. So I'm excited. We're going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, some Halloween. It's about time.
It's something.
It's something, that's true. And it's a testing week, so if it works out, we may get more.
Yeah, hopefully.
Possibly. But if you guys are new to this channel, be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell icon if you guys want to be notified when we post our new weekly videos on things Disney, Universal, and beyond. So with that, let's go. All right, so here we are. We're at the entrance. We do miss some Horror Nights signs. They would be up by this time already. I don't know if you guys can already see through the front entrance. It is packed. This is the busiest I've seen Universal. Probably reminds me of the, what was it, the Labor Day weekend that we just had?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty packed right now to get in. But we're gonna head on inside. We're gonna do Revenge of the Tooth Fairy first, and then we're gonna do The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, because we just think that house is probably gonna be the more popular one. So we'll leave it for last. We're gonna go up to the entrance. We're gonna show you guys the two entrance signs. We're gonna head on in, and then when we get out, we'll let you guys know how our experience went. All right, so we're out here at the entrance of Rip Ride Rockit. This is where The Bride of Frankenstein Lives entrance is gonna be. The signs are already up. TVs are not on because obviously it's not open to the public just yet. Just for team member and then later on premiere pass holder. But down the road here, just past Fallon, is where Revenge of the Tooth Fairy is. We're gonna head over there. That's gonna be our first house to look at. We're gonna show you guys the entrance sign to that, and then we'll make our way back over here just to go do the Bride of Frankenstein afterwards. All right, so we're over here by Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. We're gonna go on in. We'll let you guys know how it is. So house number 1, Tooth Fairy. All right, so I forgot to show the entrance to Universal Monsters as we were walking in, but we're in the queue line right now. It's the classic stanchion memory of HHN, and they got all these stickers here showing where to social distance, and then some blue circle dots in the turf. But I mean, they are preparing for a big opening, I'll tell you that. We did Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. We waited about 20-25 minutes for it, not too bad. And this one looks like it's a lot shorter of a wait. And then when we get out, we'll let you guys know how it goes. So super excited. Here we go. Got out of the Universal Monsters Bride of Frankenstein Lives house. Both houses completed. Right now we're actually gonna head to the house because we're gonna do a review there about the houses. It's hot outside. So we're gonna head there, do the review of the two houses that we had a preview of, tell you guys some spoilers on what we thought of the houses and the storyline and all. I think you guys will be interested to hear what we have because it's a little surprising. So, but anyways, we'll head to the house and we'll get back to you guys with what happened. All right, so we actually made it back to the house. It's a little easier to talk in the house here because we don't have to wear a mask and we're not outside in the heat and everything. But we're gonna go to give our review on the two houses that we just went through. So big spoiler warnings. If you guys are going to see these houses or you don't want to hear anything about it, just skip this part or basically stop watching because this is all going to be spoilers, or at least some of our little reviews on it, and then a few things from the house that we noticed and saw that we're going to put out there. So first house to start off with, Universal Monsters Bride of Frankenstein Lives. What are your thoughts and opinions on it? I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that house?
I guess 7 or 8. Probably like a 7.
Okay.
It was pretty good. I mean, with the circumstances. Like, obviously, it's not going to be, like, 100% because there are things that they had to put in place that kind of bring down the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the vibe of it wasn't there. I mean, one, it's in the middle of the day.
That was hard. It doesn't feel like you're going into Horror Nights. It just feels like you're at the park.
Yeah, that was
hard
one.
to,
We didn't
like,
get the vibe of it.
Yeah, it's hard to get into the feeling of like
That we're
Horror
gonna.
Nights.
Yeah, it's like we actually went through Tooth Fairy first, and I remember like as we were even getting into the soundstage, I was like, wow, we're actually about to do this. Like, I wasn't like in the vibe for it, so it kind of caught us off guard. But definitely because middle of the day, vibe's different.
It was really dark. Both of them were very dark, just because your eyes can't adjust. So it's hard to see like any of the details.
Yeah.
Which there's so many details in both of them.
But yeah, going from outside in the brightness here midday in Florida, going in there, that's one issue. But now into the houses too, where the scare actors are, at least most of them, they're all behind plexiglass. Granted, when you're going through a haunted house, you can tell if a scare actor is going to be there or not. Sometimes it's just like a big open dark like gap. You can tell somebody's going to pop up. But it kind of really kills the vibe too of having that plexiglass there.
You can tell more exactly where the scare actor is.
Especially coming more up, like if you're coming up into a new room around the corner, you can see their spots already. But really, to be honest, it wasn't that bad.
No.
I think it still gave what was needed. They were still close. They were actually very close to you. They just had that plexiglass, which I think is a great idea to allow the scare actors to still be close to the guests while also, you know, being as safe as possible.
And if you get scared of jump scares anyway, you'll still get scared.
Yeah.
It'll still scare you.
Yeah, there was parts...
Because they do still jump out. You just kind of know where it's going to be. You just don't know
You're
when.
more alerted to it. But I will say there was parts, and we'll get to it when Tooth Fairy got me a lot more than the Bride of Frankenstein one did. But even with that plexiglass, it's like, it kind of gives you that, oh, thank God there's a plexiglass there. They can't get me. But there was part of the scare actors where it was just this much plexiglass or so blocking their faces at least, so they were still able to reach out with their arms and all, which was really cool touch, I thought. So, but getting back to Universal Bride of Frankenstein Liv's house. You said a solid 7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it, and here we go, I'm gonna give it a 5. We're hard critics when it comes to anything. A 5 for the reason being is when we went through this house, there was holes in the house where scare actors was supposed to be. We went through and there was a good amount of holes. There could have been changing on the process. There's a lot of technicality as to why that is the way it is. But I judged the way the experience was, and I give it a 5 simply because of the amount of holes we went through. It could have been a 6, but when reading the statement by Universal, it gives you kind of like what the house is about. Same for all Horror Nights houses. They all have like the little background story. So I went into this house having an expectation, and to me it just didn't really meet that. I felt like there was a storyline to it as we were going, like this was happening, and you know, when you first walk in there, you see that, you know, the tower or whatever collapsed on Frankenstein and killed Frankenstein again. Or I'm sorry, the monster Frankenstein. I keep saying that. It's not Frankenstein. And she was there, and remember, these are all spoilers. But as you go throughout the house, I only saw the Bride of Frankenstein twice. I only saw her twice. The very beginning and maybe in the very end. There are some characters in there that could be part of the movie. We've never seen the movie.
I think I saw her at least 3 times.
3 times? I only got to see her. Now, Stephanie was in front. I will say this. They are pulsing people through the house. So she was in front of me. And if you're in a larger group, the people in the front are going to get every scare, which I thought was really neat. That's what, when we get to talking about Tooth Fairy, that's what made Tooth Fairy really great, because we get to see all the scare actors, all the scares, because they have that break to get back and come back out at you. So that's something I noticed. But I only saw the Bride of Frankenstein twice. Then there was a bunch of other characters in there. Some that I'm like, I don't even know who they are or what they were, or, you know, there's some that I guess are like experiments and all. There was, kid you not, probably 10 to 20 vampires in that house. I was like, why is there so many vampires in here? I remember passing by the first one, I was like, oh, okay, maybe there's a vampire here, but then there was like room where it was like a whole bunch of vampires all over the place.
It almost felt like it was like a vampire house, not a Bride of Frankenstein house.
So I was like, why is there so many vampires in here? And as I was trying to listen to some of the scares that were going on, I heard, I guess it was the Bride of Frankenstein talking that, like, to Frankenstein to drink the blood or whatever, I guess, of vampires to help him come back to life. But then it gets even weird to me, because as we were getting to parts where you see Frankenstein, there's 3 parts I remember seeing Frankenstein in. the main part where I think it was an actual scare actor and not like just a still prop or whatever was more at the very end. You saw him like come back to life, but he was kind of just shaking. And that's all I saw. Granted, we're walking through that house, so we may miss some scenes, of course. We're definitely going to have to go back in the house to see some other things, and then we may have a different opinion once we get that whole storyline. But I was expecting to see more of Frankenstein as well. Didn't really see him. And then there was this person that came out who was like helping create Frankenstein. I don't know if it was the bride or not, but it's like had crazy like Einstein hair. So I was like, I don't know who that is. We haven't seen the movie. We're probably missing a character that could be related, but we tried looking up. I don't know. So there's something that wasn't explaining there. And then besides the 3 million vampires that I thought I counted, Creature of the Black Lagoon was there too. But he was in like, I guess he was killed or dead. It was like a still prop, so maybe he wasn't dead. But he was just like in a tube, just kind of like hunched over. So I was like, why is Creature here? And then that's it. A lot of people are saying it could be Easter eggs for what's to come, but I was like, I have no idea.
It was one of those houses where, like, we got, like, to the exit, and I kind of, like, looked at him, and I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, what
just happened?
And I think why we have this kind of, like, disappointing feelings, because we had high expectations for this house. We were really excited. It's a Universal Monsters house, so I was really excited. And what I guess kind of hurts is because we had the expectation, or we're kind of comparing it to last year's house with all the monsters and how it was. I mean, it was just really well done. Then you look at it, it's like, oh, it's another Universal Monsters type of house, but it didn't. It's literally called The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, and I really feel like I only saw her twice in the entire house. I wish I would have seen her more to be like, okay, I see what she's doing, but I didn't see what she's doing. I didn't really get the plot, so it missed on my point.
I will say that it was really pretty, though.
Yes,
like
yes.
really
Sets were amazing. I think the best part of it was the very first part. You go down a hall and it shows like where the tower collapsed, and then you come around the corner, and it's like an open set.
It's a big facade.
Big set, yeah, a big facade where you see her and Frankenstein up at the top, and there's whole destruction from the tower and all that from the castle.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So when I first saw it, I was like, wow, this is gonna be great. And as I went through, it was like, there's vampires here. Creature of the Black Lagoon is here. There's some, I don't know who this person. It started getting really weird, and then I saw her at the end again. And I'm like, I don't know what I saw. Plus, there was a lot of holes we missed. There's holes that scare actors should have been in that we didn't see. So I mean, I don't know. So it gets a 5 to a 6 for me. I think if we go back again and we keep going through the house and see more detail, I think it'll get better.
Yeah,
I think so. But from now on, I didn't really get the hype. I walked out and I was like, not a fan. So, bummer. But, next house. Tooth Fairy. Revenge of the Tooth Fairy.
I would probably say an 8.
Okay.
8 or a 9. Like 8.5.
Yeah, see, I'm like a 7 to an 8.
I really liked the idea behind it. Like, I really liked it looks like you're like the beginning of it looks like you're walking into a story.
The facade. Yeah, like the entrance.
The whole thing, it looks like you're in like a storybook.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's like words from the storybook on the wall throughout the whole house. There's like a narrator talking, like narrating the whole story, like reading the story out loud. Which I thought was really cool. I love like that type of stuff.
Like kind of like bedtime stories, you know, like the little kid stories, fairy tale stories or whatever. But
yeah.
I was gonna say, like, to what Stephanie is talking about, it's like it really felt like you jumped into the book. Yeah. Like that's what it seemed like, because at the beginning there was like a book there, and then when you go in, it was like a kind of like a black and white, almost like basically cream color, basically like page where everything was kind of moving, and it looked like it was like those little pull, you know, like you can pull a tab from the book and something pops out. That's what it was like you're walking through. So I was like, wow, this is actually a really neat set for an original house. And then going through it, I thought the coolest part was that there's a narrator kind of reading the story to you as you're walking through the house. I thought that was really neat because it explains to you what's going on. And then the creatures, like the Tooth Fairies, wasn't the biggest fan of it because it's like technically like the same, like they had masks.
It's very Nightingales looking.
We talked about it. It reminded us of last year's Nightingales, like 5.
Except for like the chicken mouth. It was like, but it has the same like bald, like, the one thing that disappointed me was all of the Tooth Fairies kind of had the same, it was like the same mask, so all of them had the same face, and I feel like in terms of like a haunted house, once you see the same face like 2 or 3 times, it's not nearly as scary.
Yeah.
After that, because you're kind of like
repetitive.
used to it. Yeah.
They're, like I said, their plexiglass didn't seem like a full plexi like most scares were. There was a couple that had just like a small banner that was for the face, because some of them were able to reach out. And then when you were walking by, they would reach out for like you, but I was coming up and they'd turn around and would reach for me. And I'm like, that's what made me slow down more. Not like because like, oh, they're blocking my way, but because I'm like, I was not expecting them to be able to come at me more, which was nice. It's nice because this whole like pandemic thing has really like kind of like shut things down. So to have that small little like reach out is like, oh, that's like Horror Nights, you know? But I give Tooth Fairy a 7 out of 8.
7 out of 8?
Or 7 out of 10. Like a 7 to 8 out of 10.
I think if both of those houses were at an actual Horror Nights event, they would be much better.
A lot better.
It's just, it's not the same without the music,
the atmosphere,
like
that whole vibe.
the atmosphere being at night, like just everything.
Just looking at it in general, for the fact that Universal was able to bring some Horror Nights houses out, it's amazing. You know, that's a 10 out of 10 to me, because originally we weren't going to get anything. You know, so for them to finally put it out there, it's like, you know what, I'll take that over anything. Even if there was no scare actors. To go through those sets, I think was really nice. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole thing as a whole. But anyways, that's going to do it for us. Our little review on it. Like I said, we're going to have to go again in the houses to see everything and get more detail and take your time through it. But it was fun. It was fun. We got to go pollsters. We got our own action on it, seeing all the scare actors as possible. I'm definitely going to say that the Tooth Fairy was probably my better house that I experienced versus the Bride of Frankenstein. I was really hoping that one was going to be better, but who knows? We can go. We're probably going to go back tomorrow and experience it. We'll probably go back and be like, you know what? Maybe the Bride of Frankenstein was better. So that's just our opinion. That's our review. I know everyone else is going to have different ones, but hopefully that this testing works out. Universal's like, this is great. Hopefully we can get more days, not only just more days, but more houses to experience for us. Anyways, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you guys in the next one.